like different menus. She probably knows I actually care about it. That's fair. Um, I haven't done cooking requests, so the answer to that is like I actually don't know fish stick because one, I haven't had a bunch. We've talked about cooking different things here, but my usual process is very much just like driven by the house and the food in the house. So I think like I'm open to hearing requests, but I don't want to say like yes, I'm actually going to do that or put a time on it if that makes sense. Um, because I need it to line up with what I can do. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to I don't want to put myself out too far in terms of like streaming stuff. I want to like I enjoy I enjoy the streaming, I enjoy the cooking, but I haven't done like a bunch of inbound requests, if that makes sense. If you were like, "Hey, can you make me a grilled cheese?" I'll be like, I got you on Thursday." But if it was like, "Hey, can you make this thing that I've never made before?" I'll look at it. Like I'll definitely look at it. I'll look at some recipes and I'll be like, "Hey, is this something that fits in the time slot? Would I eat, would we eat this?" So I think that's where my head is at. I have a sort of like I love when cook food and drink streamers do that though, when they're like when it's like a meal redemption for something. I do enjoy that. I think the way that I've been doing meal planning on this channel doesn't lend itself as easily to that. Because it's like, hey, I'm gonna cook this for my family. It's dinner time. I hope that makes sense. Um, all that said, I'm happy to entertain a like, hey, would you ever make this type of thing? Um, because certainly, I mean, we've had suggestions that I've made on stream before, and I definitely do when it's the larger, like not prep streams, but like event based stuff. Like, hey, I'm gonna grab a bunch of onions and all that. $200. I think that's a fair point. Like, we have a recipes channel, and folks post recipes in it, and I'm usually like, oh, that looks great. Some things I've made, there's stuff on the radar like shakshuka that I'm like, I don't think anyone else in the house would eat if I'm being very honest. That I'm like, I'm gonna make this, but it's gonna be for me. What I'm doing right now is making pasta dough because that is on the menu tonight. We had Cal had Cal had mac and cheese for lunch today, so this is going to be a double pasta day for him and Gwen. So everybody in the house was home today. Calvin was not feeling well, so he was home sick, and Gwen was home working from home today. This was a very full house today. This is kind of random. It harkening back to like COVID times. So no suggesting duck confit or other hard to prepare recipes. Like I said, Adorable Clan, suggesting is free. Suggesting is free. I feel like I do like suggestions. Like let me be super clear that I really enjoy if people suggest something that would be like interesting or fun to make, I will certainly consider it. Because I don't want to be boring. It would be very easy to just make the same six or seven things all the time. I try not to do that too. Um, First character of my first message of the day is a typo. I'm doing great. That uh that happens to the best and it's adorable. I fault you not. I have a degree in writing and I cringe when I make spelling mistakes and spelling errors and all. And so I get it. I get the sense of like, oh man, what did I just type? But I'm pretty good at interpreting, so no worries. Um, I don't mind what you make anyhow you see me. Well, that's nice to hear. Thank you. But like I said, I will absolutely take suggestions. I like suggestions. I just wanted to be super clear around if I can accept them or if I don't want people to be disappointed when they suggest something and I ultimately don't make it or don't make it for like 6 months. So that's where my response came from. I have a duck that's been sitting in my freezer. I might try something different and slow smoke it when it gets warmer. Heck yeah. Duck is great. Slow duck is really good. I would love to have a duck like a sous vide duck. Um, I think that would be kind of amazing. Um, I made duck for Thanksgiving one year, about 3 years ago, and it turned out okay. It's super dark meat, which is kind of nice. Um, if you have a degree in the subject, you're entitled to mess up. Yes, agree. Okay, so what you guys are doing is cheap pizza. Well, what I'm doing is pasta. So I'm making the pasta first here. This is the standard recipe that I use. 2 whole eggs plus 3 additional yolks plus flour and salt, and that's it. So super easy, super easy. Um, if I suggest that there won't be any carcass, people might be bored. No, that's people would probably be it would probably be as expected. Uh Vegetarian stuff is always fine. Vegan stuff is fine. I like those things. Okay, so we're doing flour now. 300 grams of flour. I'm almost at the end of this bag. I'm sort of hoping this bag is like exactly 300 grams. It actually might be. Say 796, 297. Oh, come on, so close. I know there's more in there. 299, 300 grams. Hell yeah. That bag That was that's exactly 300 grams. That's incredible. Oh, 299.5. Come on. Whatever. We're going with it. It works. And then 5.7 grams of salt. So the pasta, we're going to do the pasta first because that needs to rest for a little while. Excuse me. 2, 3, 4. Oh, close enough. 5.5. All right. That'll work. That'll work. And now need we can knead with our hands a and you know what? I'm going to need some more pasta. I'm going to need some more flour here for my surface anyway. So I need to open this up. You need to turn this off because this is my pasta water. Turned my pasta water on a while ago because that's the thing that I like forget to do sometimes. Turn my pasta water on. So that is done. Good. Let's open this second bag of flour because I'm going to need just a little scoop for the counter to for the kneading process. Let's get a little scoop out of here. Just a bit. All right. And this can go on there. All right, perfect. Let's move this over there. When you add pasta to water and they say heavily salt the water, how much salt is considered heavily salted? Good question. I would say about 2 tablespoons per quart of water, or a tablespoon per quart, 1 to 2 tablespoons per quart of water. This pot is pretty nearly full. Let's see. How much water would I add to this pot if I was just pouring it in? Let's do a little science experiment, Stick. We'll see. We'll see. I don't usually measure it, honestly. So I'm going to do a little tear on this bowl. We'll zero this out. And then I'm just going to do like what I would normally do and add salt to here. Instead, I'm going to just pour it in the bowl. So I'd add probably about that much salt to this. Whatever that is, that's a lot of salt. 44 grams of salt. Um, which is pretty substantial amount of salt, I think. C. Yeah, about 50 grams of salt to that big pot is what I would add. But I think it's about one tablespoon per quart is a good measurement. Well, if you think about it this way, you can't with fresh pasta. You need to salt the water more. And I learned this. I learned this from Twitch. You need to salt the water more because it's in there for less time, and it has less of a chance to absorb that salt. And actually, no, I would be putting quite a bit. What I just dumped in there, let's see, I would add even more than I just dumped in after looking at it. So 44 plus 30, say 75 grams of salt for a big pot like this. That's about what I would add. That's about what I did add. That's exactly what I added. Sous vide tip we've learned with ours. Get the big sous vide bin that has a place to mount the sous vide and has racks in it. Plan multiple things to sous vide over a few days, and then you can fill it with water and use the same water for everything and not feel bad dumping out a big old bin of water after just doing a few steaks or something. That's a great point. And you can probably get a good bit of, like when you sous vide something, probably toss that in the freezer too, right? I imagine you could store it. For America's Test Kitchen, we recommend 1 tablespoon of table salt to 4 quarts, 1 gallon of water per roughly 1 pound of pasta, no matter what size or shape the pasta is. Interesting. Okay, so they're saying a lot less. I'm making an assumption, Velos, that they are talking about boxed pasta. And I know that for fresh pasta, you definitely need to salt more because it cooks for less time. It absorbs less water. It absorbs less water because it's already kind of wet, and you're giving it less time to absorb that water. So I learned from another food and drink streamer that fresh pasta requires a lot more salt than normal. So take that for what it's worth. I tend to undersalt mine in general. It's a matter of tasting preference. You do you. That is true. It is definitely all about preference. I like my pasta salty. My cooking style was taken by two capable people. I can tell you very specifically, I got that salting bit of advice from Hey, It's Me Salty. Salt is in the name, friends. So, but he is a IRL professional chef, trained, etc. So I tend to take his advice to heart. I hear the newer Instapots have sous vide function. I wish I would have known this when I got mine. I didn't know that. I was going to say, did Salty say that? He sure did. Yeah, whenever he's making fresh pasta, he's always like, "You got to salt the water. You got to salt it." And the point, I thought it was the first time I'd heard someone say, "Hey, how long do you cook fresh pasta for? 2 minutes, 3 minutes? That's all the time it has to absorb that salt. So you got to really get the salt in this." Anyway, he is quite knowledgeable about many things, including pasta salt. Where did I put the lid for this pot? Trying not to, I'm holding my gloopy hand over here. Okay. So this needs to need for about 8 to 10 minutes. So we're going to start doing that. Caught him the other day for a change. Guess he was taking a break. Yeah, he had taken a little bit of time off to, as I understand it, just have some personal things sorted out for himself. And I was glad to see him back last week. I know he's trying to get back onto a regular schedule. And I'm happy. I'm always happy to see him online. I must admit, I have to admit something though. I'm a little sad because his streaming times don't intersect with my Twitch watching times anymore, and I don't get to catch him as often. He used to stream in the morning. He used to stream like in the morning, and had a better schedule for me watching it. Not anymore, but that's okay. I noticed his kitchen has changed? Did he rent another apartment or something or install a new kitchen? I know that he's not in the same spot that he was a couple months ago. Yes, the kitchen changed. It's a new setup. Um, that he's starting to adjust to as well. So lots of life. I know lots of life. He's had lots of life changes in the past. I don't want to like speak out of line about them, but uh, it seems like he's starting to try to get a better stream schedule now. It was a little up in the air for a while. He used to run a place just to stream. I did not know that. That's cool. I I could see the value of doing that, honestly. I could see the value of doing it if you were like doing it professionally and making money off of it. Do you know what I mean? Because I have to be, I'll be honest that the streaming, the kitchen streams especially, like I have, if you're streaming games, it's like, okay, this is just at my desk. Everything's sort of set up at my desk here. Kitchen stuff is like, nope, there's a computer on my counter. you know, Beantown Buds, welcome in. Um, food and streaming food is a little bit of a different animal, I think, than streaming games. Uh, for example, I take my entire streaming setup down at least once a week. I used to take it down after every stream, but I don't do that anymore. I think he was one of the first cooking streamers back in the day. Yeah, I think so too. He has a long history, a very long history of streaming and a long history of cooking too. So it is a very Beantown. Thank you. I love the stream. I appreciate you. Appreciate that. Appreciate the sentiment. Um, yeah, I mean, like if I was just doing gaming, I would never change my stream setup. But the way that mine's set up now, I'm working a lot. What I've been working on hardware wise for the past like couple months is getting a setup that takes a minimal footprint on my counter. So if you look in Discord in the selfies section, no, sorry. If you look in Discord under the Mies channel, there's a channel called Mies that's not really fully food focused. I have a picture of my actual like setup from that side of the room, so you can see um, how it's structured. He was the first food truck streamer, I believe. I think that feels accurate to me. Someone I ran into the other day, not ran into physically, came across on Twitch. It's another streamer. I saw they had in their bio as like the first full-time food and drink streamer. And I was like, interesting. It's quite it's quite a niche. Corey, welcome in. My kitchen is so small. I toyed with the idea of streaming, but it would be so cramped. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the cameras and all the stuff is the actual like where would you put all of that in a small kitchen? I get that. Right now, all I have two cameras. This one and this one right here are both on one single pole. And then the one on the stove is on um, a separate arm. But right now, the only thing that's actually touching my counter or sitting on the counter is my laptop. And it's not even on the counter; it's on a stand. How is everyone doing this week? Jay, I'm doing well. I'm doing better. Last week was a rough week. This week is getting better, I'd say. Starting to. I'm not gonna lie, since my kids I'm not going to lie, since my kitchen is small, I have stuff on top of stuff because I kind of have to. Yeah. The kitchen is not aesthetically pleasing for webcam. Uh I'm just gonna say I'm gonna say a statement without naming names, but have you seen some of the other kitchens on Twitch? I don't think aesthetics are the primary concerns. I think your actual, like, what you're doing is probably the more important thing. I think people would be surprised with how small people's kitchens are. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a it's funny because the camera angle certainly changes things. You can make it look as big or as small as you want. Shayna, hello. Um, but yeah, I don't know that the size or the aesthetics of the kitchen are as important as what you're doing in the kitchen. Tylenol. Calvin's asking me how to spell Tylenol. 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 Thanks, Glenn. All right, almost finished with this pasta run. Um, my kitchen is big, but we have no pantry. Yeah. So I have shelves along the back wall for a pantry, which makes it look crowded and terrible. You got to do what you got to do, though. The camera adds 10 square feet. Yeah, it does. It does. I always assume it's funny. I like seeing pictures of people's setups. I saw a picture of Minnesota Taz's kitchen setup one day, and I was like, wow, it was not at all like what I had in my head. Do you know what I mean? Um, it was very different from what I had in my head. What you're doing and how you interact with chat are the most important things. I agree. I agree. I agree with that to a point. I will say that. There is a point of, if I'm watching a stream and I can't hear the person or I can't like see the person, it gets hard. It's harder to engage in that. Thanks.
They don't have corn.
That's fine. That's fine. Um, Corey, yeah, the kitchen setups. That's the Meese channel that I have in Discord is actually what I had in mind when I was thinking of, uh, or the kitchen setups and like people's setups, like gaming and streaming setups, are what I had in mind on that Meese channel. I love seeing stuff like that. Elgato has one in their Discord that's really fascinating. It's like a show off channel. Um, yeah, yeah, you can have a popsicle. That's fine. You can have, yeah, you can have a popsicle. Hmm?
I found Katija.
Thank you. Um, oh, let's see. What color are you sporting in the nails today? Orange. They're orange, orange with white tips. Right now, I'm comfortable being a cooking stream power watcher. Perfect. And very appreciated.
What's this? Are you serving
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm almost done with this. This dough is coming together really nicely. I feel like it needs. I don't know if it needs anything. I feel like this is pretty good. So good. Gwen's just back from the store. She went and got a couple things that I needed.
She said, "Get out of here."
Managed to find everything, which is cool. My setup is a mess of things. I'm not sure if everyone saw my tripod chopstick duct tape overhead camera holder. I did not catch that, but it is that is standard. For the first like several months of this stream, I had everything here. There was a chair on the counter with like books stacked on top and things just like bolted to it randomly. Uh it took up so much space and was so obnoxious. Okay, we are gonna rest this now. This guy is good.
me feel like so wanted.
Yeah, this guy is good. You need to rest and let this get
Yeah.
some gluten going on. And let's look at what else we're doing for dinner tonight. Because honestly, I'm not really quite 100%. I'm not 100% on what we're doing with all of these things. So let's move. Let me wash my hands real quick. Get my the pasta crust off my hand. And then we'll turn to the sauce and sort of what's next, because I might ask for some help here because I'm not quite 100% on what I'm doing for this sauce. I have an idea of the sauce. Um, and I have a kind of an idea for what's happening here. What's up? You all right? Oh, okay. Cool. Is that gluten free? It is not. I often have three screens of cookie streams going. I love it. Oh, so you are one of the folks that whose name is well known kind of across the food and drink community, I would say. Um, Corey, thank you for that. Yeah, I'd like to see your rigged up scenario. I can appreciate that. Um, so here's my thought for sauce. I got this al pastor marinade a couple 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, from the fish vendor that I use, and I was going to make. I ordered it with the intention of making fish tacos, but I didn't order the fish. Instead, I ordered the sauce and some shrimp. And so instead of making like shrimp tacos, I decided I wanted to make pasta, but use the al pastor sauce as a base for the pasta. So what I'm thinking is I have the shrimp. I'm going to put a little bit of the sauce on there to like marinate it, but I'm also going to build a light like tomato sauce in this pan here and then put the rest of the al pastor sauce into that, um, so that it is like a full on sort of spicy sauce with a little bit of tomato skins. I'm going to throw some corn in there, some corn kernels, and then pineapple. Going to got pineapple. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. Pineapple slices packed in juice. Perfect. 0 grams of added sugar. That's what I like to see. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm heading with the sauce. I'm not sure. I think what I'd like to do is just mise everything out that I'm going to make for the sauce while the pasta rests. Set the sauce on to start, and then roll the pasta out. Um, but as I'm sort of doing a mise, I'm going to talk through some ideas for it because I don't quite have it fully formed yet. So that's where I'm at with regard to dinner. I I tried to look up al pastor pasta recipes online. There's three. I found three, and none of them are very good. Uh, so I don't have anything I'm basing this off of. It was funny. The one on the Barilla, the blue box pasta website was just like make pasta, put al pastor sauce in it, stir. And I was like, this is not a recipe, friends. This has this is the idea of a recipe. So what I'm thinking is, um, I want to start with the things that are going to go in the pan for the sauce, which is going to be um, garlic, grape tomatoes, regular tomatoes, and pineapple. Yeah, that's what's going to go in the sauce first. So we'll start with that. Start with some garlic. and figure it out from there. I'm going to thin slice this garlic because I really liked how um, last week I did the garlic, the thin sliced garlic chips for the polenta, and so I'm going to do that again, and we'll start with that in the pan. I'm also thinking I wanted some garlic. I wanted the garlic chips as opposed to garlic um, mashed up because it will provide a little additional texture. And there's not going to be a ton of things in here other than the um, tomatoes and some pineapple and shrimp. So not a lot of additional textures, I guess. So I thought the garlic being sliced would be nicer. So that's why we're going that route. And all of this is just very ad hoc. I will probably, I might write up some kind of recipe for this. If it turns out okay, I might actually write a recipe for it. And if it turns out terrible, I might not. So we're taking a gamble today. Today's menu, today's dinner is going to be a gamble because I think it'll be good. It could also be a disaster. I don't know. Um, I'm hoping it's not a disaster, but it could be. I had what must have been the toughest corned beef the other day. It was edible, but I slow cooked it for 12 hours and it was still on the rough side. Even my girlfriend was like, what the heck? Yeah, that is a what the heck. 12 hours, that thing should have been liquefied. Uh, do you have any idea what the reason was? Like in retros, do you have any like retrospective ideas around why? I'm wondering if it was under salted or if the heat was too low. Uh, that's a weird one because you'd think 12 hours in a slow cooker. And beef doesn't get, correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is beef doesn't get tougher if you cook it like that. I'm not sure. Snack of flavor. Welcome back. Welcome in. You're flipping through. Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, yeah, I don't have any idea what makes beef get tough in a slow cooker like that. That seems like it would be doesn't that doesn't seem it doesn't seem right. Um, nice to see you back streaming. Hope you're in a better headspace this week. I am. I'm working towards it. I'll say it this way. I understand why I was not having a great week last week. A lot better. Uh, the situation hasn't improved, but my understanding has. So there's that. Um, did you take the temp of it? Maybe it wasn't cooked enough. Never had it happen before. Usually, if you slow cook any protein, it tenderizes the heck out of it. Yeah. So it's very disorienting for you to say that it got tougher. Was it the same piece of beef? Were there hidden cameras and pranks involved? Did you eat it anyway? And 2 pounds is not 2 pounds is not that big. You should be able to slow cook 2 pounds in 12 hours and have it just be a liquid at that point. I'm glad you're finding space to work through it. Yeah, it's definitely you know, it's the season. Seasons come and go. People have seasons of emotion. This is a season of um seasons of joy, Calvin says. Yeah. Last no. Last week was not a season of joy. It was just a season of something. Big Teddy, welcome in. I'm wondering if your crock pot wasn't hot enough or enough liquid. Just liquid maybe. Final temp was 200. Wasn't pickled properly. I don't know, but I wonder. I feel like this is a Big Teddy question. Big Teddy, any idea why a 2 pound roast wouldn't soften up in 12 hours in a slow cooker? Um, or corned beef. Sorry, I've thrown corned beef in a slow cooker 1,000 times. That's so disorienting. Thus, I imagine that was just extremely disorienting. We're just like, what is happening and why? 200 should definitely be fine. 200, you should be cooking. Uh, okay, garlic, grape tomatoes, a couple of these guys. A thin slice these, and I was gonna use just grape tomatoes, but then I saw this tomato has like a little spot on it up here, and this is a last week tomato, so I'm like, uh-oh, we got to use it. We got to use it quick. And we're gonna do grilled cheese later in the week with tomato slices, but that's only gonna be one tomato worth of slices. So I hope you find small spots of joy going forward. Yeah, for sure. And I just want to be super clear. Like the things that I am working through in a like mental health capacity are not related to like Gwen or Calvin or anything like specific like that. Home life and family life remains a very good light and anchoring point for me. So just like if anyone's actually concerned. If anyone's concerned, I'll say that as a like light disclaimer. Um, anyway, typical brisket, pickled corned beef, and cooking time is 12 hours at what temp? We said it got up to 200. Shane, I appreciate that. I was a bit concerned. Yeah, it's I feel like a a lot of people just have things that are weighing on them that they just don't talk about. I think I'm just more open about like, hey, I'm just not feeling great this week. Last week was a sad week. This week is not a sad week, although nothing has materially changed. So there's that. Um, I mean, I slow cooked some brisket 1,000 times with the brisket in a slow cooker 1,000 times, and it made absolutely no sense. I, I'm perplexed, fellas. I feel like I feel like this is like a Reddit question, right? I appreciate the authenticity and being vulnerable. Happy to. Yeah, it's just, I don't want to be like, hey, I'm canceling stream because things are cool. I'm like, no, I'm canceling stream because I like want to eat pizza and watch TV and not speak to anybody. It was totally edible. It was just done. It just wasn't tender. Okay. As long as it was edible, that's a thing. The thing that has changed is how you are coping with whatever it is, and that is big too. Yeah, for sure. I feel like for me, it's like I'm like, I'm whatever. I'm having this feeling like let's figure out why, and then like once the why is available, it becomes a little easier to let the thing happen and like have it. Um, that's where I feel like that's where I'm at. Also, hi. Okay, this tomato is just going to get chunked out, so I don't need to cut this in any specific important way. Um, Perfect. Okay. Jaguar Germ, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Um, I can only think of one reason why that would not get pulled pork tender, and that is that the meat was bruised while it was alive or stressed out. Meat can keep hard if there are stress hormones or deep tissue injury. With stress hormones, I can imagine certainly, you know, I could see why there might be stress hormones. Um, and if there is, I just think somehow I got a super tough cut. I, But I'm curious too. Like, I'm be open. I'm very curious why that would be the case. If there's a bruise, it won't change the taste. It was stress, it will taste a bit different. Interesting. I know that stress, it's interesting when you talk about stress. I know that that's a big thing for fish. You can tell when a fish has been stressed when you taste it. Want to eat pizza and not deal with anybody is my normal. Yes. Sometimes. I'm a social person, but I definitely need to recharge. AOE. Streets for saying that you're not a true anchovy and pizza enjoyer. Can you confirm or deny? Deny. I enjoy anchovies. I enjoy anchovies. I enjoy them on pizza. I will say that I don't make them on pizza at home because the other folks that live in my house would not enjoy them. Anchovies, Cal. Cal says he loves anchovies. I'm wrong. Uh, Another possibility now that I'm thinking a bit more is that you may have gotten a cut from a particularly old animal, like an old dairy cow. Interesting. Yeah, and none of those things you can change, and none of those things you would even know. Content alert. Here it comes. It's true. Um, I can confirm that I do not eat anchovies on pizza or anywhere else, with the exception of blitzing them and adding them to another dish. Yeah, they're great. I like anchovies. I like them in pasta too, actually. I bet an anchovy would be really good melted down in this dish. Now I'm wondering if I have them. I think I do. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure I have anchovies. It might be too fishy because it's going to have shrimp. Um, let's see. Anchovies in traditional Caesar dressing. Yeah, anchovies are fine. I make anchovies. I use them in pasta. I do use them in a couple dishes that I make uh, at home, and no one cares or says anything. I'm thinking about like the whole anchovy on the pizza, which I'm fine with. I like anchovies too. I like any of those like whitefish things, stuff like that is so good. I use anchovy in a braised cabbage dish, melt it down, and then braise in tomato and gochujang sauce. I just got some gochujang this weekend. Anchovy is delightful in most things. Corey, agree. Smack of flavor, agree. I will also eat them out of the container. Yes, as one does. Okay, so let's drain the pineapple here. LA face, welcome in. I like the emote. Hey guys. Um, okay. Anchovies does bring a wallop of umami kick. It does. And now that I'm thinking about it, I might put anchovies in dinner tonight and just see what happens. Cal says, I heard that. I know, Cal. I put them in pasta. You won't see them. You'll just get the flavor. I'm I might. We'll see. I think it might be too much. I think the pineapple is going to be a very strong flavor in this. So I might skip. I'm probably going to skip the anchovies. I'm just chalking up as old tough cow. Yeah, I feel like that might be the case. I think Big Teddy had some good points around the actual cut and cut and age and treatment. Probably a couple of those. Blitz anchovies is one of the secret ingredients of my potato salad. Fancy. That sounds good. Let's see what I've got in here. Yeah, I've got sardines and sardines and anchovies. Maybe use some of these. Let's see. So what I'm doing now is just cutting up a little pineapple. This is going to go in the sauce along with some of the juice. What I'm trying to get is sort of like an al pastor taco almost, if that makes sense. Like a little pineapple, some tomato. Um, I've got some cheese and shrimp. So I'm going to put some fresh herbs on top. So I'm feeling like a, an al pastor, like shrimp al pastor taco is sort of the flavor I'm going for here, but with pasta and not a taco shell. You know, seems seems reasonable. I don't see why it wouldn't work. So I added what, 3 slices of pineapple? Let's do 4. Let's do 4. Okay, 4 pieces of pineapple. So for my sauce so far, and this is just like the additional sauce. This is I have a thing of al pastor sauce that I'm gonna bring into this that I got. Um, this guy. So this is not enough to be a full-on like pasta sauce. So I'm gonna use a little bit of that as a marinade, and then a little bit of that as a as the sauce. Mostly the sauce. Hidden anchovy is my real big fish jazz cover. I love it. Oh man, real big fish. I haven't thought about them in several years. Ever made a castle roast? No. I have not. The recipe requires anchovies. It does not work without it. Yes. Um, I love that anchovies kind of tie things together. I am gonna put them in this sauce because it will they'll melt out and it'll be fine. I'm gonna put them in with the initial round of stuff here. So what I'm gonna start with on the stove is the tomatoes, the garlic in the garlic in the pan, um, and then the tomatoes, and then the pineapple, and I'll probably add a little bit of water. I'll add some water to that, and then no, I'm gonna actually fry the anchovies in first. So I'm gonna put the olive oil, anchovies, garlic, tomato, simmer, pineapple. That'll be the sauce, and then we'll cook the shrimp in that in the pot, and then we'll add the rest of the al pastor sauce to that once I've put the shrimp. Once basically like once I've marinated the shrimp and what I'm going to do, I'll put the rest of the al pastor sauce in the pot. So let's get started on this over here, because I want this sauce to just kind of start and get moving. Um, so let's go over to the stove real quick here. Okay. Whoop. And my pasta water is hot and boiling. So for this, I just want to do a good couple glugs of olive oil here. Just coat the bottom almost entirely. And then I'll let that heat for a second, get these anchovies ready. Oh, I have my fun fact of the day. I love it. Come at me with it. I like that idea. It's kind of different and kind of thinking outside the box. Having read that again, I think I read that already. Yeah, Bellas, here's the thing. It's not Tuesday, so I didn't want to make tacos. And I wanted to make pasta instead. So I'm just like, I'll pesto pasta. Why not? Why not? Right? Why not? Okay, so this is nice and hot. So let's get I'm gonna drain these guys. And how many of these anchovies y'all think I should put in here? I'm kind of just gonna put the whole thing in. How many is that? There's not that many of them here. All right, cool. Anchovies are in. Don't tell anyone. All right. I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's just get these in and broken up a little bit. They're tough to store out of the can. Yeah, for sure. There's no reason to keep them. They are because I can't foresee using them again in the next couple of days. So, all right, these are in. Let's toss this garlic in now. Turn my heat down a little bit. Damn, it smells like fish in here. Yeah, these are already broken up to the point where you would not recognize them. That's what I love about anchovies so much. Make the ground meat musher. Oh my gosh, what a smell! What a smell! Let's put some let's put some pepper in here. Ugh, there we go. I refilled my pepper maker and it's like tight right now because it's so full. Mm, man, these are popping and they're hitting me in the face. Are they hitting the camera yet? They are. The camera is greasy. It's the whole thing. Like I can see little spots on the camera. Okay, this looks this looks good. Garlic is garlic is cooked to where I'd like it. Where's your protective eyewear? Well, we're just we're just winging it at the moment. No protective eyewear today. I wasn't cutting onions, so I didn't know if I would need it or not. All right, this is just going to cook now. Uh, wow, that is a huge chunk of tomato. Did I just not cut up a piece of this? I think I just missed cutting up some of this. Come here. Get out of here. Come here, bud. You need to get, you need to cut up. You can't go in there like that. All right, that's better. Good job. Okay, better. Now let's let this simmer. I turn this down a little bit. We're going to let this just meld together. I need to talk to you about tomatoes. I'm perfectly clueless about fresh tomatoes and which varieties you need for which kinds of things. You know the Philly food scene pretty well. I, 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 I know things about food. I know, like, what are you looking to make? Sauce? Because, like, I wouldn't, if I was setting out to make a good tomato sauce, for example, I wouldn't use either of the two tomatoes I just put in here. I would use uh, something else. I would use like Roma tomatoes or like San Marzano tomatoes or something a bit a bit different. Mhm. I'm always trying to do a sauce, but I don't want to do canned all the time. I I have to say I like canned sauce. I like sauce from canned tomatoes. I'm gonna put a little bit of this pineapple juice in here um, for a little extra flavor, and then I'm gonna put the this pineapple itself in here and let all that kind of mellow together. Okay, so this is going to be our the basis of our sauce, and to this I don't want to flavor this a whole ton because I'm expecting this to augment the al pastor sauce that I'm going to add to this. So I'm going to turn this up just a little bit to let that bubble, and add some salt. Add some salt here. Um, Ellie, I was just about to say for sauces, I kind of like canned tomatoes because of the consistency. I'm a big fan of the Jersey Fresh brand tomato. Um, the new one that's come out that everyone's like hot over, the Bianco di Napoli tomatoes. I like a can of crushed San Marzano tomatoes with no salt added. That's my favorite base for a sauce. If I am going to do a sauce from like regular tomatoes, I like a Roma, Roma tomato, because they are pretty juicy. They're not like super meaty tomatoes, so you're going to get a lot of extra juice out of them, which is going to make your sauce a little saucier. Nothing wrong with canned tomatoes. To be honest, I almost prefer the can because they taste like actual tomatoes, whereas the store-bought hothouse ones taste like nothing. Yeah, you have to get like a vine tomato, um, for sure. The ones that are there's like grape or plum tomatoes on the vine, it's like you can get tomatoes on the vine and there's like four or five of them. Those are almost always like flavorless and awful for sauce and in general, but for sauce specifically. Um, all right, that looks nice. A couple other things to prep before I roll out this pasta. Let's get that going. Um, and we'll leave that on the stove there, just kind of bubbling away, because I want that to reduce. And the goal is that all those tomatoes in there get really soft. Okay, pasta is still resting. Al pastor sauce is doing its thing over here. Um, I want to put in some corn in this, but these are my last frozen corns of the season. These are the last of the corn from last corn season. So these have lasted pretty well. We did a pretty good job getting getting through the corn this year, or rather, I did a good job spreading out the stored corn's usage over the winter time. Okay. However, this corn is still extremely frozen, so we may not get kernels off of this. Um, so maybe canned is probably the way to go forever, huh? I think that here's my thought. If you are seeking out to like, you can seek out good tomatoes. Like I would go if I was trying to make them from a sauce, I would probably go to the Head House Market on Sunday or like Rittenhouse on Saturday and just ask around, like just to the vendors, and like they'll let you try stuff. I think, um, not I think they will let you try stuff. And I would just ask and be like, what's the best flavor right now, and just use that one. And it doesn't matter which one it is. But I would definitely see like, hey, are these field grown or are they hothouse grown? Are they hydroponic or not? Like I will say the one knock against the farmer that I go to is they're a hydroponic farm, so a lot of their stuff is hydroponic, and the hydroponic tomatoes are not as good. They're just not. It's just a fact. These guys are pretty frozen. These years of corn. So unless you could get some great homegrown or small farm tomatoes that actually taste like something, yeah, even those ones on the vine from the store still don't have much taste. This is true. Yeah. Honestly, I like a canned tomato for a sauce because of the consistency. I love homegrown tomatoes. Really tempted to grow some. Heck yeah, do it. Ah, the part where I slice my fingers off. Okay, corn from one, corn from two. Oh my god, I got my fish names mixed up. The anchovy in the cans are usually sprat, but the actual fish anchovy is also known as sardelle, and which closely related, and while closely related, is not commonly used in the canned product. Interesting. Slightly tasteless and sort of watermelony. That is your hothouse tomato right there. This this is not a problem with my knife being sharp, Big Teddy. I want to say that right now. These corn are frozen solid. I know. Could also be partly the knife, but I am like sawing through this thing. I'm sawing through this thing. Okay, almost. The corn is sort of an afterthought today, which is why I didn't get it out earlier. which is why it's still frozen. So little about this meal. Okay. Corn for the season. Corn for last season is done. Mix, welcome in. Thank you for the lurk. Um, I would hit up a farmer's market. Yeah, I think I would ask, honestly. If I would figure out like, hey, I'm gonna make them this. It's tomato season. I want to make something this week, and then I would just ask them and be like, yo, guys, tell me the deal. Um, and in the absence of any other information, I would say Roma tomatoes are my fave for a sauce. Where